The funny thing is, I was actually going to start this video talking about the weather and how it perfectly sums up the Steelers right now, but it actually got sunny out here. So it was actually raining a lot earlier today, but right now it's looking pretty nice out. So anyway, week 6, we're here. Oh my God, this season it's been something else. Like, it's been something else in so many different ways that it's not been good for the Steelers. I mean, I don't think anyone expected them to be 1-4 at this point, considering what they've had to deal with. But we are at this point. This week is the last game before the bye week, and I honestly don't know how this game is going to play out against the Chargers coming up. Well, let's talk about what happened last week. Of course, if you haven't been keeping up with that, I know I didn't show a lot of clips from the last game last week, but basically what happened is that Mason Rudolph got injured. It was a scary injury too. Like, it really looked like he wasn't. It really looked like he was really in pain, but luckily he survived. He survived. Of course he survived, because that'd be crazy if something really bad happened to him. But the craziest thing is that he actually started practicing again in a limited capacity too, and everyone thought that he was going to be gone for much of the season and was just going to be not able to play. But the fact that he's able to come back, give the guy a lot of credit. He's a tough kid. He's a tough kid, and there's a chance he might come back after the bye week. So good for him, man. And I'll even say this: Devlin Hodges, for somebody who didn't really come into the game practicing with the first team, he did a pretty good job. Like, coming in, helping the team get back in the game. Of course, it went into overtime, and then the fumble at the end. And, that's one of those things that I'm really conflicted by. Like, I think we can all agree that Juju Smith-Schuster, he's a great guy. He's a likable person. Like, he could be a great football player, but those times you gotta hold on to that football tightly, or at least bend the knee down to the ground and make it get it out of bounds. But Marlon Humphrey. And then, of course, the field goal that almost looked like it didn't go in, and then because the football gods pretty much said "F you," it just goes right through the goalpost. And this is where we're at right now. We got a team that's going into the West Coast, which they have not been very good on the West Coast to begin with. They don't have their backup quarterback. They're depending on a third stringer, and also Paxton Lynch, who's the temporary backup right now because of what happened to Rudolph. Jalen Samuels is out for a month. He had his knee scoped out. James Washington is out for a month with an injury. The defense, Mark Barron's out with a hamstring injury. Steven Nelson's out, and Artie Burns is going to be starting, and that's already ridiculous. But you got a third. But yeah, it's weird. Like, I think Mike Tomlin perfectly summed it up this week when there were those rumors that he was being considered as the head coach of the Washington Redskins for next year, and he basically told the reporter that said that, I think it was Sheldon Ingram from WTAE who asked the question, and he was just like, guys, I'm on a 1-4 football team with a third-string quarterback and then going up against the future Hall of Fame quarterback. You think that's my concern right now? There's something around those lines. It's just like, yeah, that's kind of a good point, because, like, you're heading into a game on the West Coast, which you're not very good on the West Coast to begin with. Kind of the truth, but excuse me. But yeah, it's a weird situation. Like, and don't get me wrong, I think Devlin Hodges can be a really good quarterback. I think we saw it in the preseason, but now you're going to a place where the Steelers have had a lot of trouble winning on the West Coast, and going into a stadium that will probably be filled with a lot of Steeler fans, but the Chargers are kind of hard to really get a fix on. Like, last year they were the big surprise team. I was at that game at Heinz Field last year where they pulled a big comeback, which was one of the most excruciating things I've ever seen going to those games, because, like, we had the 23-7 lead at the half, and then all of a sudden they just came back, and the kicker saves the day for them. And the Chargers have had a notorious history with kickers to begin with. So the fact that he was able to pull off that win there, that was not a good night, and I really don't know how this game in particular is going to go, because I just don't think the Steelers right now are really doing that well. Like, Randy Fichtner is calling way too many excuse me he's calling way too many like trick plays, wildcat formations. Like that was one of the more baffling things from last week was the wildcat in deep in your own territory, and you throw it right to a Ravens defender, and Ravens get an extra touchdown out of that. It's just like you gotta think. At least save the Wildcats from away from your own touchdown goalpost. I am coughing like crazy right now, but that's how I feel right now. I really don't know what's going on with like the game plans and all that. And going into this one, I'll at least say this though: the defense is playing a lot better. I think ever since they got Minka Fitzpatrick on that team, excuse me. But yeah, ever since they got Minka Fitzpatrick in that trade, they've looked a lot better. Like, I mean, with 8 first-rounders on that defense right now, you have to get better than that. I think the blame is not on Keith Butler this time around; it's on Randy Fichtner in the offense. And I really do think that if he calls a bad game in this one, he's probably going to get fired during the bye week. I don't know who would replace him as offensive coordinator, but I feel like that's going to be that situation. I feel like if the Steelers do lose this game, there will be a lot more firings around here. I don't think Mike Tomlin gets fired yet. We'll see how the rest of the season goes on that front. But I think the first person to go would be Fichtner if they do somehow lose this game. Unfortunately, I feel that way. I just don't think the Steelers in the situation they're in can go into L.A. and beat the Chargers right now. I don't think this is a game that could change the course of the entire season for them, because I think the schedule for the Steelers gets a lot easier after this. Because after the bye week, you get the Dolphins at home, you get the Colts at home, you get the Rams at home, which is probably the best thing because the Rams are not that good right now. But then again, I'm coughing like crazy right now. I don't know why. The Rams I don't think are good right now. They've lost 2 really kind of bad games. They'll be against the Buccaneers and the Seahawks as of the time I'm taping this. And then you've got Cleveland, going to Cleveland, and then off of Cincinnati, and then back at Cleveland. So, of all those games, I could probably see them winning at least 5. But they've got to get their stuff straightened together, man, because this is getting ridiculous now. And you're getting to that point where you need to start getting wins. Because, let's be honest, the AFC North is not that good of a division right now. I mean, the Ravens look good right now, but who knows how long that's going to last, especially despite Lamar Jackson being in there. The Cleveland Browns, I told you people that they were going to be like the 2011 Philadelphia Eagles, the dream team that everyone thinks is going to go straight to the Super Bowl and win it all. And they've lost their last 4, and they're sitting right now at 2-3, with nowhere really to go and a really tough schedule ahead. They got Seattle this week, then they've got the Patriots coming down the line later this month. So, and then Cincinnati's just Cincinnati. They are not winning games right now. They look terrible. They may be trading some of their best players to New England, because why not? But, I mean, when I really think about it, I don't think the Steelers have to win this particular game. I know a lot of people are going to think that way, but I just don't see it happening. I think the winning has to start against Miami. If Miami is still winless when that game happens on Monday Night Football, you cannot hand them a win like that. You cannot let the Dolphins get a win in that game, which I hope they don't do. Like I highly doubt they will, but this season has been crazy enough as it is. But so in terms of my predictions for this game, I really do think the Chargers will probably win it. I think they make it. I think the Steelers make it close, but I think something's going to happen at the end where the Steelers are in good position, and then all of a sudden they do something, and then it ends up going back to the Chargers, and they end up scoring the game winner in the final minutes. That's just how the season has gone so far. I do think the Chargers come out of this one and win it. I'm mostly saying this because my predictions have been kind of wrong. Every time I picked most of the time it hasn't been good. I think the only one I've gotten right, I take that back. The only 2 I've gotten right so far are the Patriots and the Bengals. I knew the Patriots were going to beat the Steelers. Excuse me. And the Bengals lost to the Steelers. Those are the only 2 I got right. I didn't get Seattle right. I didn't get the 49ers right. I didn't get the Ravens right. So I'm going with the Chargers on this one, unfortunately. Prove me wrong, guys, but I just don't know. I just don't see that happening this week. But, you know, stranger things have happened, but we'll see. We'll see how it all turns out. And a lot of Juju Smith-Schuster ones for $50.
Back with you, and time now to beat the bus, and that's exactly what Albie and I did this week. You, sir, 0-3.
Oh, boy. Rough week. That's okay. I'll be back.
Yeah, although Albie and I, we only went 1-2. Albie is alone in first place. The two of us trail by a game. But get us started here with Steelers visiting the Chargers.
You know what? And I'm looking at this game. It's a tough situation. Even with your starting quarterback, if Ben Roethlisberger was on this team, I would say it is a tough time to go out to the West Coast and win a football game. That's why I'm going with their third quarterback. I'm going with the Chargers, unfortunately.
All right, it's a true sign of the tough times the Steelers have fallen on. All three of us are going with the Chargers, even though I'm kind of talking myself into seeing the Steelers win this one. But for now, Chargers. If you're going to bet against the line, though, through the FanDuel Sportsbook, the Chargers are 7-point favorites. The Seahawks visit the Browns. Jerome, you're on an island going with Baker Mayfield and company. The FanDuel Sportsbook line is Seahawks by 1.5. And then there's the Bengals going to Baltimore. We're all going Ravens. The FanDuel Sportsbook line there has the Ravens by 12. Check.
A win on Sunday night could change everything. The only question is who wants it more. Steelers, Chargers, all eyes on Sunday Night Football.
Bob, I'm going for a playoff seed here. I want to go 5-1. I think the Steelers are going to lose. I like the Chargers 24-10. Phillip Rivers versus Duck is just too much of an advantage for me for the Chargers. Plus, they're out there.
Rich, you're out there. What do you say?
Well, both teams have significant injuries, but the one guy that's not injured is Phillip Rivers. He will be the difference maker tonight. The Chargers win 30-20.
Look, I'm going Chargers in this one. I think the Steelers keep it close, but they ultimately lose it at the end. 27-13 Chargers.
I think the Chargers as well. Phillip Rivers starts to bet against. Hey, we have a doubleheader coming up, but next, NFL News.
We're in Southern California on this early Sunday evening at the home of the Los Angeles Chargers. As the Chargers take the field, set to be the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday Night Football.
Off to a pretty good start so far. 14-0. Devin Bush with his first touchdown. James Conner with the touchdown. Still early, though. I know it's very premature, but there you go. 21-0 at the half. I mean, I saw what happened last year in Pittsburgh, so I'm not ready to say this game is over yet, because this team can come. The Chargers can come back pretty quickly, but off to a good start so far. Still holding on to the lead, but Chargers are in Steeler territory. Been down this road before. They scored 18 points in the fourth quarter last year, so this one's not over yet. Exactly what I was talking about. They recovered the onside kick, so that's good. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the clincher. The Steelers are going to hold on. There's your final score.
That little baby one more time.
Come on, change it over. There we go. Still in it.
Well, there's Rivers. There's Rivers right there with Mike Hilton. Yeah.
Now, the one thing you know about Phillip Rivers,
who will drop to 2-4.
All right. Well, that happened. You know, from the moment that that game started, when you saw that the entire stadium was filled with about 75% Steeler fans, I don't know. I kind of felt like it was going to be all right, even though I had bad memories of the last time the Chargers and the Steelers faced off against each other, because I was at that game. I'll put a link to that video up at the top right there. But that was not a pretty game. I know I got most of the stuff before the Chargers came back, but I was not happy at the end of that game. Much different compared to what we have now, and with the odds stacked against them, they pulled out a big win. The Steelers did. And kudos to them. Like, they really... I think what they did tonight was that they really shut a lot of critics down on them, saying that this is not a very good team and all that. This is still a very good football team that pulled out a big win tonight, especially when you consider all the injuries that piled up throughout the game. They lost Stephon Tuitt very early on. They didn't have James Washington or Jalen Samuels. Benny Snell got a big boost up today. James Conner had a good game. You know, Devlin Hodges had a very good game. And, you know, TJ Watt and Joe Hayden came out of the game at several points. Like, the injuries kept piling up. But you know what? Considering what they had to go through, everything that was stacked against them, they somehow pulled out a big win. Like, they were leading 24-3, I think, before the Chargers even came back. And when they came back, the Chargers came back, I was scared that we were going to have a repeat of what happened last December, because it was that kind of same situation where the Chargers scored 18 unanswered points in the fourth quarter. Their kicker was actually better than most people thought they were going to be, but yeah, I got scared. I'm not going to lie. I got scared throughout the entire fourth quarter. I was really waiting for that moment for Phillip Rivers to pop off a big play in the fourth quarter and then just make it a tied game, but that didn't happen. Guys stepped up. The defense, for the most part, did very well. They did let 2 touchdowns go in the fourth. Devlin Hodges, he made one bad play that got intercepted. I think he was being a little too cocky there, but in the end, it turned out to be a good thing. Like, the Steelers actually did hold on very well. Cam Sutton, you know, a guy that a lot of people don't really talk about all that much, but he had a great game, especially in the fourth quarter, catching that onside kick and then catching the interception that eventually won the game. It was also funny to see Phillip Rivers kind of lose his mind on Mike Hilton. I just showed you that clip right there. And, of course, Devin Bush. Devin Bush had a really great night early on, and that was something I hadn't seen from the Steelers in a while now. Like, as great as they've been on the defensive front, the fourth quarter is usually where they really struggled to keep it together, like to keep it from getting completely out of hand. But tonight, they made it work. They stopped them for the most part. They let 2 touchdowns go, but when it mattered most, they put it together in the end. And the Steelers right now are in a very good place right now. They're 2-4. Doesn't sound like it, but when you really look at the AFC North, what do we have today? Baltimore right now is 4-2, but they've got a tough schedule ahead coming up. Next week they got the Seattle Seahawks, and then the bye week, and then they got to go to Seattle for that one. But then after the bye week, New England comes in, and New England right now is just killing everybody. So those are 2 really tough games coming up for them. And Seattle beat Cleveland today, and Cleveland continues to prove why they're the 2011 Philadelphia Eagles all over again. And right now they're sitting at 2-4, and they've got a tough schedule ahead because they got to play New England at some point in the next couple of weeks as well. And Cincinnati is just Cincinnati. They are not very good. They started off well today against Baltimore, but they are now sitting at 0-6 right now, and not looking like they're going to get any momentum anytime soon. They're basically battling the Miami Dolphins right now for the Tank for Tua sweepstakes. Tua Tagovailoa from Alabama. But yeah, the Steelers have got to feel really good about themselves coming into the bye week next week. I haven't decided if I'm going to do another part for this next week. I might, but don't be surprised if you don't see another part next week. I might take the week off of there. Although I might do it because after the Miami game, I'm going on vacation, so maybe that will be the fill-in episode before then, and I'll figure out what to do about that, but down the line. But you know what? I'm going to enjoy tonight while it is, because right now the Steelers are actually in a much better position than when they were last week, sitting at 2-4 right now, going into a bye week where everybody who's injured can get healthy. Then they get ready for a Monday night matchup with the Miami Dolphins, which I think is going to be a crucial game, because even though they haven't won yet, you don't want to be that team that gives Miami the first win, especially the Steelers, who gave up their first-round draft pick to get Minka Fitzpatrick on there, and what a difference he's made for the defense. So, yeah, that's a game you don't want to lose. they have winnable games coming up, too. Like, after that, they've got Indy at home. We don't know really much about them. The Rams right now come there. They're not as good as we thought they were. At least right now. We'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. And then you got Thursday Night Football at Cleveland. That's the one game I'm worried about, mostly, because it is Thursday Night Football, and I've kind of had this feeling that Fox's Thursday Night Football is kind of rigged a little bit. And I wouldn't be surprised if Cleveland somehow manages to pull out a win in that one to kind of like bring momentum back over there, but who knows. Then you got to go to Cincinnati, which they can usually beat a good Cincinnati team. Then Cleveland comes back to Heinz Field, which they could probably win that game. Arizona's kind of hit and miss. We'll see what happens there. That's kind of a game where they usually depend. That's one of those games where you think the Steelers could beat them, and then they end up losing that game. So that's one right there. Buffalo is at home. Could be one they can easily win. They could win against the Jets, even though they won today in a close one against Dallas. And at the Ravens, that's going to be a tough one, but there's at least 9 winnable games in there, at least to me. So right now they're 2-4. They could be 11-5 by the end of the season at this point, if they continue to play as well as they've been doing. Focus on the run game more. Make it simpler, but don't be afraid to let your backups go all out, and let the defense continue to control the game. Don't let the defense stall at the end of the fourth quarter, like they did It's like they almost did tonight, but they managed to hold it together just enough to get out of there with a win. And that's something I think they need to really keep the focus on for the next couple of months as the season continues. But I mean, right now they are definitely in a very good spot right now. I'm glad that we at least got something to look forward to after this bye week. But yeah, it feels really good right now to see this team actually win a game of this caliber, because this is a big game. They never usually do that good on the West Coast. The last time they won a West Coast game was against the San Diego Chargers, and that was when they had Michael Vick as their quarterback. So, yeah, big game tonight, big win. Completely took everyone by surprise, including me, because, like I said, I picked them to lose to the Chargers. But once again, they proved everybody wrong, and right now they are actually in a much better position than I think a lot of people give them credit for. So that's it for right now. 2-4, bye week coming up. May or may not see another part next week, but stay tuned for that. And if not, I will see you in 2 weeks after the Miami game.